my screen so that nobody's on the screen now. So obviously the children have settled in. We've been back to 2 weeks. It's been a challenge for all of us. Oliver, could you try and go on mute for me? Do you know how to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be fantastic if you could do that for me. If you could go on mute, and that means that we can't hear you. Okay. So obviously the children have kind of settled back in. It's been tricky in terms of getting them back into work mode and getting them back into school mode, because they've all had so much that they've experienced and had to talk about. So, but we've given them lots of time for talking and for kind of re-establishing their friendships and things. So what we'll do, I'll hopefully get the presentation up and running. So I did find it before. So I'll put it on my entire screen for you, if I can find it. No, that's not the right one. Please bear with me. There we go. I think it's, there we go. Information evening. That's what I need. So share. Okay. So I'm hoping that you can see on your screen now the beginning of the Hedgehogs presentation. So we'll get to view and put it on full screen. Okay, so get rid of that. Okay, so file. I want to make a copy. No, I want to view it. A slideshow. Don't want new slides. Okay, no. Click on present. So daily routine, it is changing somewhat, has changed from last year. So as you all know, the Hedgehogs come in via Church Street. I don't have to come out to the gate in the morning to collect the children. But they are to be dropped off just by one parent or minder only, and they can make their way into the playground and into the side door of our classroom. If you have a younger child, if the child in my class has a younger sibling within the school, then the children can come into the classroom early. That's not a problem. And I usually get them to do little jobs for me, or they sit and chat. Now, in terms of the end of the day, I'm hoping it's running smoothly. I try and get your child out as quickly as possible at 3:25 at Church Street again. I have to get them out promptly because another class comes out at 3:35. But it seems to be working okay. So thank you to everybody, because it does seem to be flowing quite smoothly at the moment. Okay, so timetable wise, we do have English and maths on a daily basis, as we always do. And within the English, there's lots of spelling and handwriting taught. I will usually give a little bit of spelling activity as part of the homework, but we do not have a spelling list in the school at all. So we teach spelling patterns during the week rather than spelling lists. And I will sometimes send home a spelling pattern and ask the children to come up with several words for that pattern. In terms of PE, I know some of you have asked about the PE. PE with Multiflex is on Wednesday, and with myself it's on Friday. And RE is also with Mrs. Molyneux on a Wednesday morning. I'm setting the homework electronically on Google Classroom. And as I've already said to one of the parents, the main reason for this is that we're limiting as much as possible any transition of items between home and school, just because of what's going on in the wider environment. If Google Classroom is not accessible to you, then just let me know somehow, and we'll try and sort something else out. If at any point you can't upload a piece of work that's been done at home, and usually you can upload just by taking a photo of it, but if that's not a possibility, then the child can bring it in, but I would have to put it into a quarantine box just for a few days and then have a look at it later. But yeah, homework seems to be, touch wood, working quite smoothly. I've had lots of children submitting their homework already this week, which is fantastic news. PE, as I've said, it's Wednesday and Friday. So the children are to wear their PE kits for the whole day. And this is, again, limiting the stuff that we're having in the classroom. We're not using any of the cloakrooms at the moment because that would mean that the children would get too close to each other. So children are keeping their coats on their chairs, their bags underneath. And so an extra PE bag would just be too much. So wear your kits during the day. Make sure that your children have something warm enough in case it gets cold. We're not going to use the cold weather as an excuse to stay indoors. We're going to be out as much as possible as long as it's dry. So make sure the children have something nice and warm to wear and sensible shoes on their feet in order to do the PE lessons. So topic-based work that we're doing, we're kind of mixing lots of different ideas together this term. We started off with a wonderful book called Counting on Catherine, which is talking about diversity and bringing in the Black Lives Matter theme at the moment. So we're learning a little bit about Catherine Johnson, who worked at NASA and was absolutely crucial in the in the Apollo 11 exploration. So it's a fantastic book. The children seem to be really interested in it because it's all about space. So it's a fantastic book to bring in lots of different ideas. We're also going to do The Dragon Machine, which is mentioned on this slide, another book which is a beautiful fiction book about a little boy who tries to build a dragon machine and flies around the world in his dragon machine, and the illustrations are absolutely beautiful. It's a stunning book. Okay, in terms of our topic, we are doing Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons. So we'll obviously be looking at lots of different aspects. We'll be looking at some geography-based work. We'll be looking at some history-based work, and we'll be trying to bring in English and maths into those subjects whenever we can. I'll move on. So there we go. It says we'll link to the Loch Ness Monster. Now, there won't be much of a link. This is a very tenuous one, but at some point we'll be looking a little bit at the geography of Scotland because that was key to the Viking invasion. And we'll be talking about the Loch Ness Monster and doing a little bit of artwork based around a very famous Scottish artist called Stephen Brown. And the kids generally love his artwork, so that should be a nice lesson. We'll be looking at making some artifacts, probably using clay, and looking at some music related as well. Okay, science this year is the human body, and so we'll be looking at the digestive system, the skeletal system, muscles. And we'll also be looking at nutrition. Okay. So writing, please forgive me. I don't try not to read out as I'm going along, but it does continue to focus on all the things that the children will be becoming embedded with in Key Stage 1. So by now, Key Stage 2, Year 3, what we say is that capital letters and full stops are non-negotiable, meaning that the children have to use capital letters and full stops. And at this point in the school year, for some of them, that's not quite embedded yet, but that's what we'll be working towards. And as we are working towards that, we'll be kind of increasing the number of other parts of the English syllabus that we are doing with them. So we've been doing contracted words today, like don't and didn't. We've been looking at subordinate conjunctions, lots and lots of different things that come into the Year 3 curriculum as we go along. Every Friday, we announce the Writer of the Week. On the odd occasion, I might have two if I can't choose between, but that's a way to celebrate. Certainly this week, my writer of the week has already been chosen, and the work is actually taken not from the English book but from the topic book, because it was such a good piece of writing. So we try to encompass all the different areas of all the different subjects whenever we can. English, so the writing, I know I've already spoken about Counting on Catherine, this fabulous book about the Apollo 11 mission and the one of the women that worked behind it. But along with that, we'll use Hidden Figures, which some of you may have seen the film, a fantastic movie about the 4 women that worked together on this project. I wouldn't say that the film is necessarily appropriate for for 7-year-olds, though. But yeah, great ideas, brings in so much discussion about diversity and the world that we live in now, the world that there was 50 years ago. So it's a really lovely book to look at. So guided reading takes place as often as we can, and I will actually be setting up parents to come in and do reading with the children as well. I usually get this set up around about 3 o'clock, so that if the parent helper then wants to take their child home, that works out for them. But within reading, we look at vocabulary, inference, so using all the clues to work out what's going on, prediction, explanation and retrieval of information, and summarizing. So all of this is on display in the classroom, but it's skills that we slowly build up over the years within Key Stage 2. What we would do encourage your children to do is to log on to Bug Club as much as possible. Now, I wasn't in school last year, so Bug Club is still quite fresh and new to me, but we'll get Bug Club up and running properly in the next couple of days. So if it's at all accessible for you at home, that would be fantastic if you could encourage your child to either read either on Bug Club or a book itself, at least we hope 4 or 5 times a week. Now, the advantage of Bug Club is that it has quizzes and games at the end, which encourage comprehension for the children. So I know it can be seen as sort of something that some parents don't want because their child is reading from a screen, but it does have lots of benefits for the child as well in terms of comprehension. Spelling. Very small text here, but the national curriculum is for years 3 and 4. So by year 3, certainly by the end, we expect children to be spelling in their regular writing all of the year 1 and 2 words correctly, and some of the year 3 words correctly as well. I'll, over the next couple of weeks on Google Classroom, put up a list of the year 3 and 4 words, so that you have them as parents, you have access to them just for your information. So yeah, we look at a number of different things within the classes. We've already looked at prefixes, dis and un this week, so we're well into the scheme already. There are different ways that the child can practice. They can say the words themselves, cover, write and check it. They can do spelling triangles, which I'm sure they can show to you. They can draw around the shape of the word so that they're focusing on the shape. So there's many ways in which the child can practice their spelling. If I move on, it says our new no-nonsense approach reinforces previous year's spelling phonics rather. Children will receive fewer weekly spellings, but they will focus on the sounds and the spelling patterns that will be taught and embedded in class throughout the year, alongside the year 3 and 4 statutory spelling list. So those lists are different. There are 2 different kind of places that we have to draw our spellings from. So there's a statutory list of spelling words, and those don't follow patterns. They're just the common words that are expected to be spelled correctly by the year 4. And then there's the spelling patterns that we have to be teaching within the classroom. So yeah, there's a lot to take in, but we do our best to get that covered. And again, I'll be sending home the statutory list for you all to look at. It says by the end of year 3, pupils need to be able to spell all of the year 1 and 2 statutory words. And this is in their regular writing, not just in on a one-off occasion. This is within their writing. and some of the year 3 and 4 words for them to be expected level within their writing. If I go on to the next one, so no nonsense scheme. There are lots of different strategies, and I'm hoping, if I remember the slide, the next one I put in was all about some of the different strategies. It says we also hope to celebrate opportunities for the pupils to use and apply the new rules in their written work across the curriculum. So again, with the writing, the star writer of the week, sometimes this will be to do with spelling as much as anything else. We're practicing during most days, in fact. The spelling books generally are not coming home this time, again, to limit the kind of movement between home and school of different items. So the grey books are staying in school, but they are being used by the children. Different strategies that we can use for spelling. So this is coming from our no nonsense scheme. So it says look, say, cover, check. So that's the sort of standard one to memorize the words. Tracing, copying, drawing around the words. Segmentation means splitting it into different phonetic patterns. So just splitting the word up into different sections. Writing it quickly, but you could also do rainbow writing with different colours. Drawing an image around the word. So there's so many ways that the children can practice writing the word and saying it out loud to themselves as they do so. That's the ideal method to try. Maths, we've got times tables, rock stars, which I'm in the process of setting up at the moment. So in year 3, we focus on the 3, 4 and the 8 times tables, because in year 2 we've done the 2 and we've done the 5 and the 10 times tables. By the end of year 4, the children will be expected to know all the times tables. So there's a real big push in year 3 to get the 3s, 4s and 8s known very comfortably, and to start to expose the children to the 6, the 7, the 9, etc. Because by the end of year 4, they must know their times tables, and there is actually a national assessment that is coming in for that. So yeah, any support that you can give at home would be superb. Times tables, rock stars, the children love it. So if they can get on that on a phone or on a tablet at any point, that would be absolutely superb. Homework, so reading the evenings as often as possible, as I said, and celebrating our progress. Spelling, shared, it says fun games and extra spelling practice to be completed online. I'll give tasks on Google Classroom. Anyway, I think I'll probably have to go back. And then there'll be a maths or an English activity to do. Hopefully you'll have noticed class dojos. Different reasons for giving class dojos. Sometimes I do forget, I admit, but that's only to actually log on to dojo. If then the child has been given a dojo, we just put it on later, so it does get uploaded, so please don't worry about that. So the children are rewarded for good choices within the classroom when we put dojos up. So hopefully you can access that. I know there are a few parents that are not getting access at the moment. I have sent an email to try and sort that out for you, so I will get it sorted as quickly as possible. So it does say your child's been sent home with a class dojo letter, so I will look into that. I'm hoping that everyone has got a letter. As I say, I've sent an email to try and find out what's happened for those of you who have told me that you haven't got access to it. So I'm not going to go through all the details of the pupil premium funding, but just to say that the details are on this slide, and that if you need to find out about it, then read this slide and contact the office. It says if you are eligible for free school meals, the school gets additional funding called pupil premium funding, which we use in part to support you with the cost of school trips, after school clubs and instrumental tuition, as well as to support your child in their learning. Okay, homeschool communication. So it says if you haven't done so already, please download the School Spider app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, just so that you can keep abreast of what's going on in school with emails being sent home, that kind of thing. The application is designed to make it easy for us to communicate directly with you. Now, that generally comes from the office rather than from us as teachers. So we can communicate. I can communicate with you via the class email, which I'll talk to you about in just a moment. So it says useful websites. Here is just a list of different websites that you or your child can use to support the learning. So Top Marks is a great maths resource to use. You've got some reading ones at the bottom. The School Run, it says hit the button, quick fire questions for times tables. So including your division facts. So lots of different websites for you to access that will support your child in their learning of the different activities in year 3. So that's the end of the presentation. The only thing that's not on there, which I feel needs to be mentioned, is the class email. So some of the parents have already emailed me. I try to answer, or I certainly try to check the Hedgehogs class email every morning. I might not get a chance to respond immediately to any queries that you have, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. Sometimes I might pass it on to Mr. Boot if I feel that that's appropriate, but I will, address the emails if you send them in. Just it might not be immediately. So please forgive me if I'm a little delayed in replying to some of your emails. So that's the end of the presentation. I now am going to struggle, I know, to get back to my Google Meet drive. So I'll just close this presentation, hopefully, and see where I am. There we are. So we've got 4 people that have joined us now. So I've been through the slide. I kind of rushed through it because I don't like just reading it out. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to put the screen on so that I can see all of you. And if you have any questions, just if you want to go off mute and ask away, that would be great. No, everybody seems to be okay. It's always a bit awkward, these situations. I do apologize that I have rushed through so much. The information is there on the slides, but I hope we're all starting to settle back in now and to feel a bit more like normality. This is what I'm hoping for anyway. So it certainly feels a little bit like that. It's been absolutely delightful for me because I've not been in work for a good few months. It's been an absolute pleasure to have some children back in my life. So I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. So I'm hoping that all of you are sort of getting used to the processes and the times and things, and that you're all happy that your child is back at school. No questions? No? Okay, I take that as a good sign. Okay, if there are no questions, then we can leave it for now. It doesn't need to take, we can finish it off. And again, if you do think of anything later on, or you want to talk to me privately about something, just email the Hedgehogs email address. So it's just hedgehogs@winchamcp.cheshire.sch.uk. And as I said, I'll respond to that. But for now, if there are no other questions, then thank you so much for joining me. It's been a bit of a weird experience, but I've enjoyed it nevertheless. So thank you very much. And I'll see you all in the playground in the next couple of days. Okay, bye. Thank you, bye. Thank you, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.